I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for the Warrenville Public Library District on Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. And I'm doing a roll call.
At 7:01.
It's 7:01. Trustee Warren.
Present.
Trustee Stowe.
Present.
Trustee Lazan. Here. Trustee Pika. Present. And also present is Connie Schmidt. Almost trustee. And Executive Director Jason Stillman and Trustee DeRocher and all of our department heads and Jackie Davis. So the next order of business is our oath of office. I will swear in Heather, and then she will swear in our other elected officials. Hi. I, Heather J. Stahl.
I, Heather J. Stahl,
Having been duly elected to the office of trustee of the Warrenville Public Library District.
having been duly elected to the office of trustee of the Warrenville Public Library District,
County of DuPage,
County of DuPage,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of trustee to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully discharge the duties
of the
office
office
of trustee
to the best.
best of my ability.
Wonderful. You are sworn in.
Thank you.
You have to sign that.
Oh, okay, I'll take that over here.
Fantastic.
Okay, so then the next one is I am going to swear in Mr. Warren. Would you raise your right hand? I, Richard J. Warren,
I, Richard.
J. Warren,
No.
I've got that here, Richard J. Warren. Okay, what's the correct?
Double.
W.
Oh,
And June.
Okay, starting over. I, Richard W. Warren Jr.,
I, Richard W. Warren Jr.,
having been duly elected
having been duly elected
to the office of trustee
to the office of trustee
of the Warrenville Public Library District,
of the Warrenville Public Library District,
County of DuPage,
County of DuPage,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm
and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee
of trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried after the meeting, so I just have to look at Mr. Warren.
That's.
But you're- unless somebody wants to take them.
Yes. That was Richard Daly.
Well, there's,
I can see how you're getting mixed up.
I saw where you were Ricker Warren. So.
Yeah, I saw that too. Oh, well.
Who the heck is Ricker Warren?
I, Constance Schmidt,
I, Constance Schmidt,
having been duly elected
having been duly elected
to the office of trustee
to the office of trustee
of the Warrenville Public Library District,
of the Warrenville Public Library District,
County of DuPage,
County of DuPage,
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
and affirm
and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of trustee
of trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Yay! Here we are. Okay. Good.
This is my husband. Thanks, Eddie.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Okay, if everyone could turn to page 3. You need to discuss the board officers for the next 2 years. So currently, I am president, Rick is vice president, Heather is secretary, and Sandy is treasurer. And all of us have the ability to, oh, with the exception of Rick, have the ability to continue on in that. I would be very interested in serving as the board president again. If the board is interested in having me do that. Mhm. Oh,
I nominate Robert DeRocher as president.
I'll second.
that.
oh,
Oh, no.
Or second is an.
so the nomination was offered by Heather.
It does not need to be seconded.
It does not, oh, okay.
So you
And
accept.
I accept. We don't have to vote?
You do.
We do have to vote.
You can either vote after each position is nominated, or you can do all the nominations and then vote at the end.
Let's vote at the end.
I would be interested in serving as vice president, since Rick cannot continue.
Okay.
Weeping bitter tears.
Jerry Pika,
And weeping bitter
for
tears.
vice president.
I second the nom, oh, we don't have to second the nomination. Are you,
I accept.
you accept? Wonderful, okay. And then Heather? Are you, we're open to nominations. Are you interested in continuing?
I said continue unless they're, Rick, would you like to be secretary?
No, that's.
Okay.
I just assumed you guys.
All right, then I nominate Heather as secretary.
I accept.
And Sandy, would you like to continue as treasurer?
Yes.
You're doing a great job.
I will nominate Sandy Lazar for treasurer.
Do you accept?
Yes.
All right, so all in favor of the candidate, the slate of candidates being President Barbara DeRocher, Vice President Jerry Pika, Secretary Heather Stull, and Treasurer Sandy Lazan. So say.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And those nominations are carried through, and we have our officer slate. Wonderful. Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations.
What's up?
Now, if we could turn to page 4, we do have some committees that need to be designated for the future. I don't believe that there's any term limits on any committees. So I'm wondering, Jill already did send me an email that she is willing to serve on committees.
Good.
So I would like to recommend that Jill and Rick continue in personnel if you are willing.
That sounds good.
So you've been doing a good job. Good. City Library Task Force, we have not met with the city for quite some time. Is there anyone who's particularly interested in this if we do need to meet with them?
I'm fine.
You're happy to do that? Connie, is that something you might be interested in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want me to be alternate, like we're in Cindy's position?
Okay.
Or I'm happy to do that.
I'm happy to not even be on this group, so you can just be
I think so.
on it with Sandy. It can be you and Sandy, Connie. Okay,
Can I ask what the city library task force has done in the past?
when we were,
They did that stuff next door.
right,
Okay.
so also when we were very involved with the TIF district and the lawsuit that came as a result from the school district, we had to have many meetings regarding that. But we haven't had to meet with them for quite some time.
Right.
But we do, I mean, and we have a good working relationship when we need to.
And who initiates them traditionally?
It just depends on
Either side.
what issue comes up.
Right.
Either side can initiate. All right, the Open Meetings Act designee is, it can be just, it doesn't have to be 3 people. We can certainly have 3 people. I think we only have to have 1.
I nominate Rick.
Yes, I nominate Rick, and I think that Jason, you should also be on that group. So we'll just take Cindy off.
Yeah, because I think with the I think it was one person was 2021, the other person was 2022, so I think that's why it just got lumped together.
I nominate that Rick Warren.
Junior.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. No.
I'm teasing, I'm teasing.
Sorry, Rick.
All right,
That's my type of.
the FOIA officers, we should definitely have Jackie stay on that. Are you good with that, Jackie?
Well, somebody else would rather have it.
I don't think that's an option.
I mean, I
That's-
think it's,
That's a Jason and Jackie,
A J&J.
the J&J show. All right, ethics advisor, did you?
Have you done anything with
I was gonna ask,
It's a
what does the
very
ethics
involved
officer do?
situation.
Why do we have that position? Do we know?
I believe we have to.
Yeah,
Right, and it has never had to do anything.
Well, I'm just looking at the look on Jason's face. I'm wondering, do we really have it? Because he doesn't know anything about it.
And it hasn't. ever
Now,
been
I
a-
came from a municipal library where
maybe
there's
it's
different
not required.
requirements, so I don't know if it's a
Because I think
requirement
there's
of the
been
district library,
issues
but
with some of the.
I
city
did see that and
libraries
was
where
curious
there's
as to
not-
what it
where there's
entails
been
and involved.
problems
I
with
don't
we have
know.
Funds appropriation.
Oh, yes, I could see that.
I would like to suggest that Sandy continue on as our ethics advisor, in that maybe next month Jason could advise us about what the ethics advisor may or may not have to do,
Fair.
since none of us
I
really
think-
know.
I think it's also something by statute that it was like by state or whatever.
I agree. Are you willing, Sandy?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
It's
maybe
such
she ought
hard
to
work,
have the
though.
chance to back out after she finds out what it's all about next month. We
Don't
can
worry.
defer this.
We'll get Rick or Warren. so-
Yeah, yeah. you-
Can always change it if
Yeah.
Don't worry.
And the library system contact, we would like to
I'm
name
thinking
you.
the next-
Is that okay?
Yes, that makes sense.
Sorry,
Good.
Jason.
All right.
No.
We now have our committees filled and our officers designated. Woo-hoo. All right.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Oh, do we need to take
What
the,
do we need to
do we need to take the, is there a,
call? Closed
There's no
session.
closed session.
Okay. all right, motion was made by trustee Stahl and seconded by trustee Pika. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Do we have any presentations?
No.
Public comments? There's our public left.
You guys can show us the public.
I don't think we have any correspondence this month, so we're gonna move right on to the consent agenda. Our newly elected secretary, re-elected secretary.
Item A, approve minutes of the April 19th, 2023 committee of the whole meeting. B, approve minutes of the April 19th, 2023 regular board meeting. Item C, receive and file financial report for April 2023. Item D, approve multi-product resolution from Fifth Third Bank to update commercial master signature card, removing Cindy Rizika and adding Connie Schmidt or Constance Schmidt as an authorized signer for the Warrenville Public Library District. Item E, receive and file canvas and abstract of votes cast at the consolidated general election held in DuPage County on Tuesday, April 4th, 2023.
Good.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as well.
Well said.
I think we already have a motion on the table, so we're just gonna go ahead and vote. Trustee Schmidt,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Stahl,
Aye.
trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee DeRosa votes aye. Consent agenda is passed. All right, regular agenda.
I move that we pay invoices in the amount of $70,295.11 for the period of April 20, 2023 through May 17, 2023, including electronic payments and checks number 9363 to 9412. Checks number 9388 and 9397 are voided.
Second.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Warren. Connie, these are the additional sheets that we have on our table. These are the two things that we do on our regular agenda. So because it involves money, we have to do a voice vote, which is a roll call vote, which means I go around to every person. Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Luzon. Aye. Trustee Pika.
Aye.
And trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
And trustee DeRocher votes aye. Approving payments is passed. Item B.
I move that we transfer $150,000 from our commercial checking account to the operating checking.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Warren. We'll do a roll call vote again. Trustee Luzon.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher votes aye. Motion passes. All right, we're going to move on to item 12, the second draft of the budget. Take it away, Jason.
All right,
We're on page
41.
41.
Okay, so you have notes in there. I'll go through just some of the general updates first. I hadn't realized, as the previously discussed at the meeting we just had about the LIRA insurance, I didn't realize that it didn't cover the fine officers policy, and that we have a separate policy for that. So I added that into the budget. There's a thing we do already have, but so I added that. As I mentioned last month, the cleaning went up a little bit, so I changed that on the budget. We added a little bit in for a makerspace to get it started, and Duncan was going to be putting together a committee to discuss that more, because there's a lot of various details to account. There weren't any tuition reimbursement requests for this year, so I took that out, and the Directors University that I applied for and hoping to go to in August. Turns out the ticket price includes the food and lodging, which I didn't know. So that went down as well. Security parts, we determined we spend less money, so we reduced that. For Hoopla, discussed with Barbara.
I just kept getting kicked out of the system and I was like, what's going on here?
So we were already over budget. So Paul had previously put in for May and June, he put in a $1,600 cap for each month. So that meant that essentially broke down to each day with a limit of like $51 for checkouts. So everybody was clearly hitting that very, very quickly. So Paul had requested 20, this year we have 20,000. Paul had requested 25,000. I bumped it up to 30,000, but since we are already very close to spending 30,000 already for this year, Barbara
I was
suggested,
like,
why
we're
don't we
gonna
just
need
increase it?
more.
So I bumped it up to 35, since it's a popular service and it's something that the members get to take advantage of, so we want to be able to keep providing it. So it doesn't mean that we still may need to tweak and put in some sort of cap, even if it's $2,500 a month, which is way more than $600 a month. Or currently, you can check out up to 10 items from Hoopla each month. So maybe you reduce it to 9 or 8 items or 7, something like that. So just some small tweaks that won't be a daily hindrance when you're trying to go check something out, but we'll still maybe help us keep it on budget.
I think when Paul comes back, if you could have him really think through that, talk through it with him, and maybe make a presentation to the board about it. A recommendation so that we don't hit that limit at the end of the fiscal year again.
No,
Just
we
stretch
are-
it out a little more.
We're cutting back on like CDs and DVDs as a result, correct? So
Yes.
some money is getting shifted.
Yes.
Some, yes.
I think more people are going to streaming services.
Yes. I reduced the amount allotted for the strategic plan and consultants. 25,000 was a lot, so we reduced it down to 15. So we can maybe hopefully kind of a la carte pick what services we want that'll suit our needs. I added in $1,000 for supplies as the safety committee continues to work and determine what some of our needs are. So we can invest that. Our interest income this year was budgeted $1,000, but we're projected to take in like 19 or 20,000. So in last month's draft, the first draft, I had 5,000 for the interest. I bumped it up to 10,000 this year because I feel like that's fairly safe that we should be able to reach that amount. It's clearly a lot more than what we budgeted this year, but it's still a lot less than what we're actually going to take it. So I thought it would reflect a little bit more accurately what hopefully the income will be.
Okay.
And then along those same lines with the TIP funds, I'm sure Ron has plenty of things to do as he's getting ready to retire. But I know he had said they had run into a snag, and so they're running a little bit behind on working on the TIP funds. So I'm hoping I'm still going to be able to meet with him in the next 2 weeks before he retires. But so just trying to go through some of the email correspondence I saw from Sandy and Ron last year, it seemed as though it was going to be smaller than the 20,000. So I reduced that down to 5,000. In terms of income, a little painful to do, but I
Yeah,
wanted it to be.
that's a big change.
It is, but like I said, I still need to learn more about that, but I'd rather for income budget on the low end rather than budget higher and not get that in.
Now, they're putting in all of those townhomes around that one development. That's part of it, sir. So we should be getting for all those.
I could be completely off base and maybe we're gonna get plenty of money.
But yeah, I agree with going on the.
But I just
lower
thought
one.
once, but I just thought until I sit down and talk with him and give more of an explanation and get a better understanding of it. So maybe after, and we still have a month, we can approve the budget in June. So hopefully by
Yeah.
then, maybe I'll have a better understanding and maybe I'll bump that back up to 20 again or.
Excellent. But I agree with going on the lower.
Conservative, yeah.
I have a couple of comments. First of all, I know this was your first time. You did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I particularly appreciated the comment about an actual balanced budget in the future. So
Yeah.
thank you that you have that in the back of your mind.
Yes,
And you did reduce the deficit, so I'm
it did.
pleased with that.
It wasn't by a whole lot. It's a large
No, but
deficit to reduce.
Every little bit, and budget is only a guidepost, and like you said before, you take from one thing to another when you need to. I am concerned though about water and sewer. I noticed you did not do any increase, and Warrenville is suffering some huge increases
Yes.
because of this alignment with Naperville.
I forgot about that.
Well, I don't mean to bring up bad news, but we're at 81% of our budget through April 30th. I think we will exceed our budget this year based on what's going to come in May and June.
Yeah.
So
When
I
was
think it would behoove us to raise that number somewhat.
Do you remember, was that kicking in?
I think,
That was due to the Naperville.
yeah,
Right.
and I
Work.
think that I'm already seeing increases in my bill
Okay.
for sewage or garbage or
Sewer.
whatever, yeah. So I
But it's
don't
sewer
think
that we do
no
through Naperville.
increase is a practical approach to water and sewer.
So do you have a recommendation for any?
I do not, because I don't know enough about what this specific, I have a sheet of paper at home somewhere, but I'm sure they can, at City Hall. can
I was gonna
give
say.
him the same
Yeah.
information, probably a little more detail that Jason would appreciate.
It's based off our water usage.
Yeah, there was a percent given in the mayor's remarks in the last newsletter, not the most recent, but the one
Yeah.
I
before.
don't know, but we were, yes.
Yeah,
And I don't want to give you wrong information, so,
but it was significant.
yeah.
Yeah, it is huge, because the dollar amount of the cost is also higher than what we said it was going to be actual cost.
So I would
So
feel
it's going to be
comfortable if we
considerable.
build something in, which is why approving it next month might be.
That makes
better.
sense. Thank you for bringing that up. I remember him, Mayor Rumble, speaking about that. And for some reason in my brain, I just thought of that as for residents and didn't think about it for.
Well, I only noticed it because I'm the one who looks at all these percentages.
Sure,
and I
no.
went,
Thank you for catching
okay,
that.
April 30th, 80%, something's wrong here, and then I saw what it was. So, thank you.
All right, moving on to the wage increases. With that, At the bottom, the director's recommending a 7% salary increase with a 5% COLA, plus a possible 2% merit. Is it that the 2% merit is not across the board?
Correct.
And I'd like to comment on that too. Our current inflation is 4.93% currently, and it keeps dropping down and down. For the last 12 months period, the highest wages and salaries have increased 5.1%, ending in March of 2024. The 7% is really, really high. I mean, in my opinion, that's kind of fiscally irresponsible of us to do.
So what do you suggest?
I'm 4.9%.
4.93% is what it is currently at, as per the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Over what period?
Right now, that's what it is. The peak was June 30th of 2022, and that was at 9.06%.
So that
And we
is
keep dropping.
that was
We're
a
trying to get it
measure
down to
from
20.
month to month.
Yes,
So 4.9% is what it is,
nine.
higher than last month.
No, we're dropping.
She said
Every
the
month
overall
we're
number is
dropping.
5%.
Okay, I'm trying to understand the context of
And the
what
wages-
4.9% means, because I
That's
know,
what the inflation rate is right now.
yes, but I
I'm on the
know
website,
that
I'll read
things
it.
are much more expensive than they were a year ago. Just in general, my own experience is that things are much more expensive. Grocery shopping is outrageous. So I'm trying to understand what that means, 4.9% over what period? Are you saying over a year it increased 4.9% or over from one month to another?
That's what the Bureau is saying right now, inflation is.
But to Barbara's point, the prices have been raised and people are paying
Right.
$4 a dozen eggs, and it's highly
But they
unlikely they're not gonna lower the prices drastically. I don't think, once they know they can charge those prices. That's a big jump from 9 to 5, so I don't think it will go any lower than, I don't know.
I mean, I paid for something for a dozen organic free range eggs. $4.29.
On the website, it's a little confusing because it gives various different numbers. It does say 4.9% for the 12 months ended in April. So April to April, it was 4.9%. But then it goes on to say it follows a rise of 5% in the previous period. And then later it says there's a table of inflation rates, and it says the inflation rate for 2022 was 6.5%. So that's a calendar year from January to December. So it kind of depends on, how you're looking at it. They come up with different numbers.
The Fed's trying to get it back down to 2%.
Right.
So
I think the reality of
Yeah.
the grocery store and the reality of paying rent and the reality of, lifestyle.
Inflation does not always go hand in hand with the cost of living.
Right.
So the cost of living, there should be a cost of living.
yes, so from the packet last month, the January 2023 cost of living increase for Social Security was 8.7%. And the 12-month CPI for December was 6.5%. So that had been what I had based it on. So I think rather than trying to have a moving number, it was trying to find when they, whatever, I think those two times would be the target dates that to publish and based on, so those are the numbers that I was working on. Acknowledge that hopefully things are coming back down, but those were the.
Well, part of the big thing with inflation was the pandemic and us trying to get everything, the supply, demands, all of that worked out. And then the war in Ukraine has affected all of our energy costs. And that's not going to be changing.
Mhm.
And I mean, with global warming, our energy costs are going to continue to go through the roof. And we seriously need to be looking at energy efficiency to reduce that, or it's gonna eat it at our budget badly.
For my benefit, what was that cost of living increase last year?
Yeah,
We did 4% plus up to 2%
Merit,
merits. We could do, that was one of the,
that's stayed the same.
that is what I had used in the budget in the first draft last month, was the 6% with, so that being the 4% COLA plus up to 2% merit. So that I think is still a healthy raise. Be okay with that.
I feel strongly that we should look at the 7%. I really do. I feel that it's been a really tough year on people. So, and not everybody, I mean, everybody would get a 5%. And then the 2% would be.
2% is not across the board.
Right.
Quite honestly, when you look at numbers like this, there's a difference, but it isn't a huge difference to go to the 7%. I'm not sure I know right now how I'd like to vote, but in looking at the bottom line, it isn't an astronomical number to, like you said, the staff has had to struggle, we've all had to struggle, and we're working hard at retaining staff too.
Exactly.
And maybe the deciding factor in some of these decisions.
It's a really good point.
well, part of it too, on retaining staff is we have we have part-time positions. Most people want a full-time position. So how many of our staff have left part-time positions to go to full-time positions somewhere else?
But you made significant changes last year. I have to keep reminding myself that they are new because they're just what I'm used to
Yeah,
in my 3 months here. But you made every part-time position an IMRF position, so everybody is earning retirement. You added on extra benefits in terms of the, which we'll talk about next, of the health insurance for the full-time employees. So, and there was the healthy 6%, 4% COLA and 10% merit raises last year. So you've been making good strides in trying to remedy any retention problems. So I think as I was working on this, I was struggling back and forth between these 2 points. When I saw the $28,000 difference and thinking about trying to shrink that overage that we have, I wanted to recommend 6%, but in the comments that you had made last month and just knowing that insurance, everything is so much higher, I wanted to recommend, giving that benefit to staff. So I went back and forth, honestly, between the two. So
yeah,
It's a tough point.
it's what. I mean, everybody is struggling, as you said, but so is the community. So it's also, we have to think about them. That's, who supports the library.
So, just correct me if I'm wrong, I'm hearing the difference is you want 6 and some want 7. Maybe the middle is 6.5.
I mean, I
I
also
don't know,
kind
that's
of,
what I'm hearing, I might be wrong, because that's also what Jason's recommending for the insurance. Can you hear from others?
Well,
Heather, your
the
thoughts?
one thing, from my perspective, I work for a government agency, and that's also dependent on paying the employees from a tax revenue from other fees. And one of the things that I've always struggled with over the years has been when, for a brief month, we have had our cost of living assessment raise. But then January 1, our insurance goes up and there went our cost of living assessment. It didn't allow for anything extra. So I agree that, and I do feel like we need to have something with the staff retention so that they aren't struggling somewhat, and maybe we do need to meet in the middle if being the 7% is is too much, but I mean, again, how much is the insurance increase that the employees are gonna have? What's that? I mean, I'm trying to balance what was on one side versus what's on the other. But, I mean, I think that's, like I said, I struggle with just getting enough and not really, not more than enough to kind of make ends meet, you know, like, great, I covered my insurance, but then that's it. I'm still back to the same point, watching everything else increase and feeling like, okay, I guess I cut out the, you know, instead of having the cold cut turkey, going back to ramen noodles, you know, type thing. And not feeling that anybody else has seen the struggle that,
Well, that's not just you, I always have that.
right,
Every year, my cost of living increase would always get taken right below my health insurance.
So
That's always there.
my feeble brain tells me the difference between 6.5 and 7 is $7,000. So I think the decision then becomes back to 6%, which is roughly $38,000 or 7% in my mind. That's all.
We haven't heard from you.
I don't know how we can get ahead of anything. If everything goes up, then that propagates larger numbers. I don't know what we're gonna see here if the two sides can't get together in Congress and decide what they're going to do. If they continue in their lackadaisical way, then they are gonna wind up making an interesting situation that no amount of 1% things. So I was looking at the difference though between everyone getting a COLA and how that affects the impact of a merit raise. So I thought that if you go for 6%, it's a COLA, but you can get more of a merit increase and you still beat out the COLA of the 7%. So that would be one thing to consider. I could go along with 4.5 COLA and 2% merit. I don't know how with the deficit and work our way out of that by spending more.
This was our plan, though. I mean, we have reserve funds.
Yes,
It was
that's
our
true.
plan, you know, so it was our plan to use those reserve funds. I mean, we're talking about a deficit,
Yes.
but it was our plan to use those reserve funds.
We've always operated with
Yes.
a deficit in the budget when we've adopted it.
And all the, I think I stated them in last month's packet, but all the things that Sandy had mentioned last year about, you know, the new developments. I think based on the numbers that I read to you a little bit ago, I think the levy will be able to increase again by the maximum amount. The city is going to do that special census, so if we can capture more. I mean, that's a per capita grant. That's not necessarily going to get us tons more money, but there's all these various things that are going to gain us more money. I just, as being new to the budget and seeing that deficit, it made me a little uncomfortable, but I trust that Sandy trusted that and that you all did as well. But just for me coming in, I would like to shrink that overage. But so,
Well, we'd all like to see that happen.
And
Our
again, there's-
resources.
and I mean, knowing too that on some of these line items that you have been very conservative, and there are some things that are unknown, you know, we might, you know, it might be enough that it does erase or, you know, get us a lot closer than what we're projecting the deficit to be now. I know the future's always a little uncertain, but
Would it behoove us to have the health insurance conversation first and come back to this? Or do we need to make a decision?
you know, covering more than health insurance. I mean, because that, you know, like, that always goes up more than what your increase goes up. And I honestly think if us covering more of that, it would be a little bit more responsible to the community. Does that make sense?
Well, it's all coming out of the same.
It's all.
I know, but as the community looks at, oh, you're giving how much raises versus us increasing the insurance.
Well, it's all
playing with
good.
numbers,
Yeah, it
but
is.
it looks, you know,
I get that, and my thinking was doing the insurance more incrementally because you did such a change last year.
Yes.
And being a full-time person myself, it is a lovely benefit, but the health insurance is a benefit only for the full-time folk, whereas the raises benefits every employee.
And I hate to beat the drum at that, but you have to have resources. It doesn't matter how many books or services we have. We have to have competent, willing resources. And I think part of that goes with the scale of payment.
Mhm.
Just my opinion.
Well, you know, it's that hierarchy of needs thing, you know? Anyway,
I know I'm new, but I'll voice my opinion.
you
Um,
should.
I agree with you, Barbara. I would see the 7% increase with the 5% COLA. And I would be very discriminate on the 2% merit because honestly, I think all of our staff, I mean, I interact with a lot of people on the floor and I'm so impressed with, they all probably deserve it. So perhaps that is a way that, I mean, I would love to give everybody merit probably, but this is a nice guaranteed incentive, you know, to show our confidence in our good staff. And then if there's any, you know, really outstanding, you know, merit could be added on, but merit would be not guaranteed, you know, that's extra.
Thank you.
So that's.
One of the options that I floated or asked you to decide last month, which I think merit is good because then it recognizes performance. But in terms of, you know, these current times of the cost of living and things being so high, an option could be to not have the merit raises and just have, you could use that 4%, or if you wanted to just make, you know, a 5 or 6% flat COLA raise and then there not be merit raises, then you're still giving a very healthy raise to everybody, but then cutting down 7%. If that makes sense.
But then I feel like that's incentivizing some of the employees if you don't have a merit.
That's
I
fair.
think there
Yeah.
needs
Yeah.
to be a merit raise component.
because you have some people who will work harder than other people, then they will feel. Not
It's so nice.
appreciated.
I've never had it. And it's not because I didn't deserve it. In the professions I've had, it's, I mean, yeah, it's really nice.
I mean, to be appreciated this much, I have never had that in my career,
So to
never.
your point, inflation is 4.9. And with the possibility of a 2% merit raise, you're still only, unless I'm stupid, you're still only giving 5 across the board, 5%.
Mhm.
So not everybody is, yes, so I'm not sure. And everybody said, or most of you said you want a merit raise, but not everybody's gonna get a merit raise. So 5% plus the possibility of a 2% is not a 7% raise across the board. It's a 5% raise.
But also salaries and wages over the last 12 months, ending in March, have only gone up 5.1%.
Well, I would have to support the 7%.
Do we want to have the health insurance conversation next and then come back to this so we can kind of make our decisions in concert with each other? So Jason, you want to walk us through this?
Sure. So I narrowed it down to just 2 increased options. last month, due to the equity of it. For some having family and some not having family, to keep the family 50% sharing costs the same, but to increase towards the employees. So currently it's 90%. So the two scenarios are presented were a 95% sharing cost or 100% sharing cost of the lowest cost plan. So at the moment, just thinking in terms of incrementally increasing, I put into the budget the 95%. And I had been using, I think last month I used the 2 employee plus spouse options as a cushion. And so I built in a in-between cushion of an employee plus spouse and an employee only spouse, employee only. So kind of like 1.5. So as a cushion to kind of reduce the cushion. So I still think that's good. I think I think it is a good goal to try and want to get to 100% of the employee at some point.
Oh, we do
Yeah.
need to be.
Especially as that's where I came from, for despite whatever other things I could say, my insurance was 100% paid for at my last employment. So I think that's a good goal to go towards. And even getting, currently this is at the lowest cost plan. It would be nice to get to the next tier at some point, which is strangely the PPO is cheaper than the HMO. I don't quite understand that in our current insurance, but so that would be nice as well, since I think the majority of people are taking that. So, but like I said, I was just trying to think in terms of that overage that we have and the fact that you made such a drastic change last year, and just trying to go up incrementally and then building in this cushion. For Connie, I don't know if you remember from last month, but the cushion is more in case anybody has a life-changing event, if their partner loses the job and they have to come on our insurance. So it's just kind of a cushion in case those changes happen, so that we're not all of a sudden paying more than we were expecting to.
Well, I'm pretty comfortable with your recommendations.
I am as well.
So,
Hopefully next year we can get to the 100%.
That's what I'd like to see. Yeah.
I think that's a goal.
all right, then we're back to page 43.
A big step there, isn't it?
Do we want to take a vote on this?
And I think I misunderstood that the 2% merit, it's 5% cost of living and 2% to bring you to 7%.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
5%.
So one way or another, based on whatever guidance you give me today, I've been looking at minutes, I think from last year. It looked as though Sandy maybe took that same sort of guidance and then tried as best as she could to then determine what the raises, what the merit give from managers, what the actual merit raises were going to be. So she could put in a more accurate number in the budget rather than 7% across the board. So I could try to do that as well, based on what you.
We also added positions last year too.
We did, yes,
So it was a big,
It's a big jump, yeah.
yes.
But now, I mean, you know, we're headed in the right direction. We're starting to convert some part-time positions to full-time.
right.
That's excellent. It's excellent for our long-term
That
outlook
helps
in
with
terms of
retention,
retention.
because most people want full-time because they want the insurance.
Sure.
So that's usually why most people leave. So the more that we can get into full-time positions, the better retention will be.
I'm not sure that that's,
I was gonna say, I don't think people necessarily leave because of insurance. That might be a mitigating factor. But I don't know. I've been in the workplace for a while,
But even the whole idea of part-time or full-time, anyway,
That's-
regardless of whether the other benefits are.
But I think the step that you took last year to make all positions at least 20 hours or more and earning IMRF, which may or may not be a motivating factor for people, but so many
well, they
positions.
don't know it's motivating until they start getting it.
Right.
Then they're like, oh, this is a really good thing.
But there's a lot of positions out there that are 12 hours, 15 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours. And for folks who do work in library land, and have been earning that IMRF, when they see positions posted at 18 or 19 hours, they're like, oh, you're gonna cut me out, you're gonna make me work just up to the limit, but not actually give me any retirement. So the fact that you took the step to make every position IMRF and 20 hours or 25 or 30-hour positions, I'm sure there are still plenty of people who would rather have full-time, but in terms of a part-time position, that is a much more desirable position than your 12-hour.
Yeah, we've got
15-hour
retention and attraction on our radar, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, companies like Target, they have also given health insurance and various benefits for people who only put in like 26 hours a week average.
All right, in
So they've been adding to that.
the vein of
Well, yeah.
having attraction and
okay.
retention on our radar, I'm gonna actually call for a vote on the 5% COLA and 2% merit, and we'll see where that goes. And then we'll move on from there. So I am, I don't know, can I make a motion? Can the president make a motion?
I think, are you looking for a consensus? Because.
I'm looking for consensus, but I don't know how to get us there, because I don't,
I would just say, you can go around the table and ask what people think.
All
We
right.
don't have to vote.
Yeah.
so we're looking at, I'm looking for consensus on 5% COLA and 2% merit. Rick?
It's a little high considering it's all the increases that are also being factored
The increases in,
in
Insurance, you mean?
insurance, and the fact that a lot of people don't have any retirement. Hey, what's this? I got the taxes on all this. So I'd like to see more in the COLA, well, less, and let's say the COLA and more in the merit.
So like what you're saying is you'd rather see like 4% COLA and 3% merit?
That's possible. Yeah.
all right, Heather, what do you think about the 5 and 2?
Well, I like the 5 and 2. I mean, just because I just see the increases as being huge, and it's such, if it's something too, we can help retain the employees, I think we should.
Okay,
I'm looking at 4 and 2.
4 and 2. Jerry?
I would be in favor of the 5 and 2.
Okay,
I
Connie?
will go with 5 and 2 with respect to what I understand the points of view, but
All right, so we are at 4 of us advocating for 5 and 2. Can we live with that?
Yes, we have to.
All right, so, I mean, this doesn't actually call for a vote on it. We're basically just giving JC guidance on the budget. So we're gonna give him the guidance to go with 5 and 2.
If you put it to the employees, would they be willing to cut back in some area in the department to take the 5 and the possible additional 2%? They would think that would be the wise way to go.
Okay. All right, so are you, both of your recommendations at this point stand for those two, for those last 2 things? Okay. All right. Let's see the budget next time.
Sounds good. And then next month being June, we will need to actually approve. the
Vote.
budget.
Yes.
So I will try and have a nice, I noticed belatedly that previous year Sandy had a very nice cover sheet, so I'll try.
Okay, you do your
Adding.
thing. Your thing and it was good.
Okay, well, thank you for all the feedback.
You're welcome. Thank you for very well done budget. All right, moving on to page 45 on our agenda. We've got this really cool sculpture art coming our way. And I just am excited with these mock-ups that you put in the air. How did you do that?
I would like one of each now.
You must have some kind of fancy program or something.
I just use publisher and Word.
Do we get to pick the animal?
We do,
We do. So originally, I
and
think
we get to keep it.
I think the original suggestion had been, I think last year Sandy had put in, or in the fall, Sandy had put in a photo of an owl that
Yes.
maybe been at Contigny.
Mhm.
That is now not available.
Oh.
So, but
But they're
they
gonna create one for us.
got the approval to just have us to commission a piece for us. So it is our choice. So hence why you are seeing 3 different animals on there. So they won't look like this. Obviously, it's gonna be based on the particular artist doing it. And, you know, one, I don't know if they will take suggestions. An idea I had was to potentially suggest we would be happier with whatever animal, but being in the library, like, could it have, like the owl have a book in its talons,
Yeah.
or wrapped around the tail of the cat or something? To make it a little more fun. But given the style of the art, I don't know that that's actually possible and whether they'll take requests. So I wouldn't count on that, but I'm gonna put it out there to them when.
I can't imagine why it wouldn't be possible. I mean, if you saw the Cantini displays, those
I had no
were
idea that they-
amazingly
Huge.
eclectic.
Did I
And-
hear you say you would ask for the owl with the book and the cat, and the cat?
Or whichever animal
Or-
we pick, not
I
ants.
was like, I don't know about that.
Well, I think they're all great,
I
so
do too.
I love that little fox. I think that's sweet.
I like
So I
I kind
think,
of like the idea of something hanging, so I'm kind of going for the owl.
Well, that, yeah, because it's so much more active. I mean, you know, not that the other 2 aren't cute and I noticed them, but it just seems like.
Especially
There's some
hanging
fancy.
over by member services. That would be so cool.
That would be awesome.
I just love that
And
idea.
attention grabbing.
Yeah. Love that idea.
the trick would be to hang it low enough for attention and not high enough to be out of attention.
Well, you want it to be confused with a piñata to take a swing at.
So like I said, there's pros and cons to all the positions. You can see the painting there in the background, so I don't know if it would compete with the art there on the wall.
Well, the only thing I would say I wonder about it is the light gonna be the one that, I mean, I realize any of these could fade over time, but it just, you know, both the fox and the position, I just don't know if,
It
how
does
the
say
light's gonna
direct sun.
affect it over time.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be too bad, maybe on the backside, but the entrance there has the portico
Okay.
over it, so I don't think it's gonna get any direct sunlight.
Okay,
It'll clearly get more
right.
light to it, but I don't think it'll get any direct sunlight. So
But I think it would be hard to see when you think that that one sculpture's in front of it. I mean, it's.
Right, yeah, because that one has.
I mean, it would be great to have something there that's as eye-catching as this. I just figure it's gonna be hard to see from people from.
Interrupted you, I'm sorry.
What?
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
What about the back by the elevator, that little area over there? There used to be, we used to put Christmas trees up there.
That's where the fox is.
That's where the fox is.
That's where the
Oh,
fox
that's
is.
where the fox is.
So it's on the
I didn't
ledge
catch
over
that.
the lower entrance.
Okay, but how about hanging up there?
There is already something hanging.
There is something.
There is that other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing in the bibber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, that position, while that I think that would fill the space nice there, would also possibly potentially compete with the hanging art.
With that space, yeah.
So
This, I think is pretty.
Does the
Yeah,
staff
I think-
have any input? Are you guys all like, we want the owl?
I'd like to have-
Because no fingers.
Yes.
Ah.
If you put it, if you put like where the cat is, and there's the picture showing where the cat is, you are gonna constantly have people, because a lot of times people just set their books up there when they're looking through those shelves. They would have a lot more potential of being damaged unless it was enclosed in something as well.
which we would probably try and figure out.
But I like the idea of the hanging. Cat could go on the table between mine and Jason's office.
We have-
Very public facing
We
there.
have some cat lovers on staff, so
Yes, yes. I like the owl too.
I do too, and I like the idea of adding a book to it. If
Yeah.
they take suggestions.
I know there was one person who voted for a fox. So I like the foxes, but it wasn't me. I like all of them personally, so.
Well, it sounds like we've got kind of a consensus on the owl. And do we have to decide right now where we're gonna put it?
No,
Well, I think it would depend on how they create it.
Yeah,
it'll
If
probably
it's gonna
impact the
sit on
size.
something,
Do they
okay.
some kind of dimensions, or do they just do that themselves?
Yeah, we want to know where to put it so that he has an idea of what the dimensions
Yeah.
are. The owl could be sitting too, like if you like the spot where the fox is, an owl could be perched with wings outspread, like the example that Sandy had given you last fall. So it doesn't have to be flying, hanging, an owl, like any of these three, well, the fox and the cat probably wouldn't look as good hanging. The owl lends itself to that, but the owl could be sitting on any of the other two spots as well.
I
But-
really think that that other piece of hanging sculpture, it would really compete with it. I don't think that's the best place for it. Plus, we need a place to put our Christmas tree.
You know, a lot of people, when, like, he's not necessarily gonna see this picture unless you send it to them, but like, when you think of an owl, a lot of people think of an owl standing on a branch and not with wings outspread, so if you want it with the wings outspread, we need to say that.
That's true.
If you go to museums and you see aircraft hanging, you see them that way too.
You're right.
And they have their wings up.
And they have their wings out, yeah, well, unless it's a falcon or something diving in. for-
All right,
Put a
so
book in a quad.
do we
take
have
it off.
enough
We
here,
all-
or do we
have
need
the
to
parrot
decide where it's
too,
gonna
so
be?
it's kind of a theme.
Probably in terms of size and dimension. Probably.
Okay.
But if you want to mull it over for a month, we can vote next month. We probably don't want to wait any longer than that because they want to be able to get the ball rolling. So, like I said, it'll take, I think it's at least 3 months to make it, and then it's got to get shipped from Mexico. So,
Connie?
Yeah, there's another question about color, is there in the packet?
oh, yeah,
I love our colors in our children's area, which are kind of followed throughout. There's that light green and turquoise and the lavender and then the burnt orange and stuff. I would want to take a photo and share those colors, to work those colors in.
Okay.
So that and then the turquoise.
I think that would be nice. I frankly seeing, looking online and seeing all the examples of the art, I think they're all beautiful and fun and colorful, but if we can get it to match to some of our colors, I think that would be nice.
Or at least coordinate.
Nice boarding,
In
yeah.
the,
But send them the picture anyway. The owl, we got it.
Maybe we could do a walk around next time. And look at the spots we're considering,
Sure.
or does that seem like overkill?
No, I was gonna suggest that. I think we were talking about the space. I think it might be helpful for you to look at the different sight lines around there. I know all of you come to the library, so maybe see some different times of the day, maybe when you're here and take a look.
Okay,
Or when we adjourn right now, we can go.
we could do it now.
Jason, I would think in the archives for the rebuild, there is a color palette somewhere
There is.
that the architects have brought to show us.
Okay.
And if there isn't, knowing how cooperative they were, if you told them what you needed,
I'm familiar with the architect, so
yeah, they might just send you what you need to
I'm sure
send
she will.
off.
Which would probably be just to give the artists that and then let them use their creativity to work with them.
But I do remember seeing color swatches.
All right,
so leaning towards the owl, leaning towards the hanging, and our color palette. So you can marinate, take a look
We
at the
got three out of
spaces.
four.
well, at least to
And vote next
incorporate some of our colors. I don't think it should just be,
Matching.
yeah,
Let the artist
I don't
get
want-
his
yeah.
creativity, let him do his thing.
we should
Yeah.
definitely
He's
ask
an
them
artist.
to include, but not
Limited.
limit. There you go.
Yeah, coordinate it, so it just
Yeah.
doesn't look totally out there, but.
All right, we're gonna move on to reports. Jason's report talked about National Library Week, and Kathy, thank you so much. So much. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry I missed it. I got really sick and nobody should have been near me that day. So I didn't come. But,
I was disappointed I missed the ladybug balloons.
yeah, I would love to have met your fight.
Can always make you some ladybugs at a different time.
How, how was that, all those ladybug balloons, you wouldn't believe them.
And the grandson played with that little fishing rod He actually broke it because he was playing with it so much.
Nice. Yeah, they kids love that one. When my wife first showed me that one, I was like, really? And then seeing kids have it, I'm like, okay, I get it.
Moving on to the Warhol thing, I love the idea that if we can to put it on acrylic so we can move it. I think that's a great idea, and if we can reuse some of the many pieces of acrylic that we have here, that would be good.
Fence is
Yes.
well worn.
So Lee is looking into that.
I don't know if it's the right kind of acrylic or whatever, but hopefully we can reuse some, but that'd be great.
And a few more, it's developing, but you've got the date and time there for the ribbon cutting. But Vivian Lund is gonna attend and
Yay.
say a few words and cut the ribbon. Sarah Phelan from the Historical Society is gonna come and speak to the non-living portraits. I think the Western DuPage Chamber of Commerce is gonna come and speak briefly, but they're providing the ribbons and the scissors. Since we don't have our giant pair of scissors.
I know that the mayor has a giant pair of scissors. We could probably borrow them from him because he's
The chamber
cut a lot of
seemed-
ribbons.
The chamber seemed very excited.
Yeah.
To be involved in somehow, so.
Yeah, I'm sure the chamber has big scissors too.
So I don't think it's gonna be a huge event, but I think it's gonna be nice. So, and I'm excited to get
I
them
hope you're lovely.
put up.
All
So,
right.
and a couple of building things just to update you on. Today we had the our sprinkler system worked on for repairs. We had our inspection last month, so they were some repairs, so they were coming today. I think they maybe come back tomorrow. Do some more. And then next week we are finally getting some of the window ceiling repairs done, and then they're going to replace the 2 entrance doors.
New doors.
That should be happening
Hey.
next week.
That's been a long time coming.
Indeed.
We've been working on that
from what I
a long
understand. An additional thing, just as a reminder, I didn't put it in the report, but I was going to put it next month, but just says on your radar, July 3rd is the 4th of July, right? So if you're interested in joining us, you're welcome to.
Yeah, town.
And then.
It's pretty fun, Connie. Yeah, to be part of the library. Candy
Time-
thrower.
What
people.
time in there are you decorating the boat or car or whatever?
That I am not sure yet. What, she asked what time we're decorating.
We'll figure that out. There's not gonna be much to decorate this year, though, so what is the theme? The theme by the good folks at, what did they come up with?
Okay, I understand.
Something patriotic, probably.
Yeah, but my observation of this parade over several years is that a lot of folks don't follow the theme. Like, it's more about their entity. So I would like our goal to be more about us, the library, and like just more, we're the library, get library card, summer reading, like.
Yep.
Here's some candy. Because the amount of time that we spend to do that, or about a 1 hour thing, it's last year was a lot of work. So we're scaling back.
Okay.
More of a generic thing. That's why we're ordering the t-shirts. We're gonna wear the red shirts will be noticeable with the white prints.
Lovely.
That's part of that.
The theme is tune-tastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Is it a cartoon?
No, we married it after with, like last year was definitely about the theme, it was $1 billion last year, so that's
Yeah.
our theme.
Right, I remember that.
And then the
Yes.
last time. for
My
the-
son.
I know, but that was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
At that
Could also
time.
be part of the teams this year.
Yes, that's my point.
I don't think he's
It's
gonna
mighty bad.
be, he's gonna be in Scott.
All right, anybody have any comments about any of the other department head reports?
I just want to say, I think it's great Diane is reaching out to Agape. That was amazing. The number of new library cards. We got great between the week and going to the apartment complex. That was wonderful. Thanks to everyone who made that possible.
Yay, library cards.
I will say, and I know lots of libraries, but compared to my last library, the percentage of library cards we have to the population is, in my mind, very high. So
Oh, lovely.
We'll keep going.
very
Let's
happy-
write that in our
very happy with that.
decennial report, shall we? Any department heads have anything popping that you would love to tell us about, that you
No,
didn't
but I
already
think
write
we
about?
Thank Ian for saving over $5,000.
Thank you, Ian, for saving over $5,000.
I read that and I thought, surely that's $55, but
No.
no, 5,500.
Yeah.
Big catch.
Excellent.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's $5,000. But we didn't have it.
All right, and we're just gonna keep going then. Anybody have, so, our next meeting is going to be on June 21st at 7. So, Connie, I don't know if you're aware, but we meet the third Wednesday of the month, if you just want to put everything in your calendar.
Mhm.
Heather and I are going to be going to the Laconia banquet, and we're going to be hearing our old friend, Joe Philippek. That'll be lovely to hear him. And ALA conference,
And that's just if you're interested in,
yep, is there anybody interested in going to that?
Is it all? Is the exhibit hall open all 4 days? I thought for some reason it was only open like 1 day or a day and a half or something.
no, I think it's open 3 of the days.
Okay.
So the exhibit, I think the pass is discounted from Rails. So I think it's good for the whole weekend, but
Where is it gonna be? Is it-
it's downtown. I think at the former.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't know, it's
Are
like-
any of our staff attending?
Yes, Ian and Lori.
Lovely.
Can I have a question? Sorry. I know we don't need to do an evaluation, this is for the personnel committee, Rick,
Yes.
but do we need to provide Jason with goals?
Oh, yeah, that would probably be a good idea. But most of the time in the past, we had Sandy write her goals.
Well, and I think that's why I'm bringing it up, because perhaps on top of everything else, Jason can.
Write some goals.
Goals. And they're just, I think Sandy only had 3.
Right.
A huge deal, but we kind of need to get a feel of what you think are your priorities.
Sure.
I just thought I'd bring that up because I
So that we can say absolutely not. But it'd be good, and then we'll have something to work from
That's
for
my
the
point.
evaluation. Which is usually March-ish, somewhere in there, March. So,
Do you want a additional committee call for that, or should I just bring those to the next meeting?
oh, just,
There's a form.
Yeah.
Personnel committee, there's a form that Jason should have for his goals and an explanation. Like that, because we wrote that a couple of years ago.
Right.
And he probably should be given a copy, maybe this is Ian's job. He probably should be given a copy of the evaluation as well. So he knows what's there. But I do know we should have some goals.
Yeah.
Sometime on the books.
you are correct. Good thinking. Okay, already went through the president's report, treasurer's report. Everything looks good. Excellent. Secretary?
Jackie's making me look good.
Excellent. We did not have any committees meet, as far as I know. Any trustee comments? I would like to welcome Connie officially as a member of the board, and we're so happy you're here. Finally.
Yes, we are.
I feel like this has been years in the making, so I'm very glad you're here. Any items for information or discussion?
Question for y'all.
Mhm.
So we print out the packets for you each month, and then either I only realized recently that Sandy emailed you the link, but I've been sending you the PDF. Would you like to keep getting a printed out packet?
Yes.
Anybody who would not?
I would like to say that I don't need it, but I really like having
Yeah.
paper.
That's my problem. I can do it online, but I like that piece of paper.
like
right
having
now.
paper.
I always read mine online, and then I get it when I come here. I'm trying to get myself used to doing it all electronic. I'm trying to get myself to.
I'll let you know if I get to that point where I'm,
Yeah. Just
where I'm
let
just
us
all
know.
electronic.
Some of it is like, especially
Been my
something
goal.
like the budget, when we're referring
Yeah.
to things that
Sure.
to
that makes sense.
try-
Like to have that.
Otherwise, then I've got to have the electronic thing here. Now I'm concentrating on this. I'm not looking at anybody else. So that, and it's like too, when sometimes if I have to flip between pages to go backwards electronically and then go forwards, and sometimes that's frustrating for me. So that's why sometimes I don't like it.
And I do need this printed because I do check
Sure. No,
check
that makes
numbers,
sense.
dollar amounts, all of that, so.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was just thinking
Yeah.
of just the packet itself.
I will entertain you can make your first
Ooh, this
motion,
is
Connie.
nice.
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
The motion was made by trustee Schmidt and seconded by trustee Pika. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We are
At
adjourned.
8:18 PM.